And finally, new rule, no matter which side wins on Tuesday, let's skip the Civil War and go right to reconciliation. 34% of the voters think there will be another civil war in the next 5 years, and I'd like to remind them of one thing. America is a family, and the definition of family is people who hate each other without resorting to violence. We have to see each other not as mortal enemies, but rather merely as roommates from hell. If we want to simply exist, we're going to have to find a way to work together, like the Rolling Stones. A lot like the Rolling Stones, because we also need a comeback tour to pay the bills. So let's not have a civil war with the Trumpers. We're no good at war, and they're no good at being civil. Like them or not, they're not going anywhere. Neither side is. The only people who ever threaten to leave the country are rich celebrities, and none of them ever do. People keep sending me these maps showing how red states and blue states should just go our separate ways. We'll get New York, they'll get Texas. Shut the fuck up. Take it from someone who has traveled this country my whole life. There are no red states or blue states. They're all like Mitch McConnell's hand, some shade of purple. We can't have a second civil war because the two sides aren't neatly separated anymore, you see? The Mason-Dixon line of today would cut through states, cities, streets, even bedrooms. We're amongst each other now, all swirled together and marbled in. There are 3.8 million Hillary voters in Texas and 4.5 million Trump voters in California. We can't go to war. My dry cleaner is behind enemy lines. I don't want to fight the battle of Trader Joe's. We have got to figure out ways to start working with each other again. And the way we've always done that in the past is with a grand bargain. Mr. President, you must know this. You're the big deal maker. And I know you watch the show every week by accident. By accident. You're like the guy in the emergency room who, darn the luck, keeps getting a zucchini stuck up his ass. I don't know how it happened again. But here's a grand bargain that could work for everybody. If liberals lose, we won't loot Foot Locker. And if you lose, you don't loot the Treasury. That's how we get America back, with a grand bargain on looting. Because I'll admit, our side has lately been having a little trouble saying looting is bad. Like Axios cheerily reported that looting can have positive effects because it generates cash for the looters. Yes, stealing usually does. There's even a book called In Defense of Looting. The author says looting, quote, provides people with an imaginative sense of freedom and pleasure. So does masturbating in a Zoom meeting. But we don't recommend it. Have we lost our minds? Stealing, bad. No looting the mall. And also, no Gucci loafered Republican looters ransacking the government. Because I know what... I know what you're thinking, Don. You lose the election and everything must go. Lost our lease, going out of business. Oh, yes, you'll be selling pardons on Craigslist. Jared will turn the Smithsonian into condos. You're going to try to strip this government like it's an abandoned Range Rover in a bad neighborhood. As we speak, they are trying to pull off one final giant swampy scam with the new 5G, a deal one official said is perhaps the biggest handoff of economic power to a single entity in history, after the Jeff Bezos divorce, of course. Yeah. 5G. Trump's cronies are cutting themselves in. This is looting on a much grander scale than boosting the window display at Lululemon. And they're doing it with the pandemic as well. In September, the stock price of Kodak surged because they were given a huge contract to make pandemic drugs, with one small problem. Kodak doesn't make drugs. They make cameras in 1985. Kodak? Who was the second highest bidder for this? The Gap? Stop stealing. Is this really such a hard thing for Americans to agree on? Can we agree on something? Anything. Because it's getting a little chippy out there. So please, whatever happens Tuesday, let's find a way to live together. We have to, because no other country will take us.